Hey, welcome back to this new video. Hey, there's somebody looking at me, what the heck? Yeah, I know, it's a cactus, it's a giant cactus, man. It looks ugly, but cute at the same time. So this video I wanted to make to showcase beginner rotation for anyone that's playing a gladiator in this case. That's what you start out as before it turns into a paladin at level 30 if you do your job quests. So anybody that is new to this game and is playing a tank, be sure to do your job quests, because if you don't, you'll screw a lot of things up for yourself and everybody in your party. But this is about the rotation, so if I get off this cactus, man, it's so hot as fuck, I know. Here's my character. Yes, it's a level 80 paladin. So I know a little bit about tanking. I mean, I do it a few times a day for hours in a row. First things first, if you start a dungeon, you obviously turn on Iron Will, because this is your tank stats. Now that's supposed to mean that when you attack enemies, they focus more on you because of the aggro generation. The hate, the enmity generation that you're creating causes the enemy to focus on you because you're the tank. Your job is to protect the team, to basically be their shield. So you have that on, okay? So imagine walking up to a bunch of enemies. We see these dummies in this case, they're the enemies. So you start a dungeon and you run up to them and your team is behind you. What do you do? What are you doing? Exactly, you're gonna go there like this and then you're gonna be like total Eclipse. Well, you know, that is one way of doing it, but I suggest you don't. Don't do that ever again, okay? It's just a friendly reminder, because I've seen that happen more often than I'd like to admit, but usually it sprouts, it's new players. So instead what I suggest you do, oh, there's a fade as well, that's great, this is just perfect. There's some action in the background now. What I suggest you do is when you walk up to a group of enemies, you quickly pick one of them, you target one of them and you do shield lob. And that action, as you do so, the group will then come to you. That enemy you just hit with shield lob comes to you together with the enemies surrounding him. If it's a group of 3 or 4 enemies, which it usually is, they will all come to you. Then once they are at you, as you walk towards them at the same time, that is when you do total Eclipse. And you can do it like 2 times or 3 times if you're not comfortable with your enmity generation. And once you've done that, it's time to get into your normal actions. So you target the enemy the other damage dealers are attacking as well. So you have to pay attention to what enemy is losing health the fastest. And then you just simply do fast blade on that enemy and riot blade. The combos increase, as you can see on my hotbar. This is so important. You see that hotbar in the bottom? It has certain blocks that have little, you know, blinking like lines going on around it. That's supposed to mean that you have to follow that skill up with the previous one you just did. So at the very beginning it's gonna be fast blade, and as you can see, riot blade is now blinking. Use it like that. It does more damage. It increases the potency of your attack. This is how single target damage is done at the very start as a tank. Okay, so don't make the mistake of going right into Riot Blade like this. If you just spam Riot Blade like this, it might seem like it's doing a lot of damage, but it's not. It's missing the combo potency there from Fast Blade to Riot Blade. Now, every now and then, as you're attacking the enemies, you want to start doing Total Eclipse again to make sure that all the enemies stick to you as the tank. Because as this is all going down, the healer is obviously going to use Cure on you as the tank, which causes their enmity to rise. So if they keep healing you and you don't do Total Eclipse to keep the aggro on you yourself as the tank, then the healer is gonna get it and they're gonna attack the healer, and if you're too slow they're gonna even kill the healer. You know, we're again talking about very new tanks out there that are just beginning and have no freaking clue what they're doing. So I'm going to show you this in action for a second with a unsync duty, because we're definitely not gonna do this the hard way. So I'm just gonna go into Satasha. Alright, this is the first dungeon you unlock. So bear with me here for a second. I'm playing on the PlayStation, so loading isn't as fast as PC. Although I heard the PS5 has very fast loading though, with an apparently fast SSD technology. But that's besides the point for now. Hopefully one day I can get my hands on a PS5. I would love to have one. Can't buy it anywhere though. I don't know where the fuck you can get one. It's still waiting. Okay, there we go. I was like, what is it waiting for? Alright, we're in a dungeon. Your first dungeon is a tank. Use the iron wheel. Oh, okay, it was already active for me because it's unsynced. So normally it's not active. So you start the dungeon, iron wheel. There's an enemy. Oh, I targeted already, right? If you don't know how to target using a controller, that's a separate guide altogether, not gonna lie. But you can target like this if you know what to click on your controller. This is just for example sake. I have this one targeted. You would walk up to him and you do shield lob. It's going to instantly die because it's unsynced. I'm way too strong. But you see, this enemy is now coming towards me on its own. Then I can do total Eclipse. And I would do this a couple of times because the enemies normally wouldn't be dead. They would still be alive. So you do it like 3 times in a row. And then you can go into your single target rotation with Fast Blade and Riot Blade. And as the dungeons go up, you get more actions that you can use. But for now, you wouldn't have all the actions you see on my hotbar available. So again, you see this enemy, you target him, shield lob. They come towards you and you could do this. That's actually all you have to do in order to grab the aggro as fast as possible from all enemies. Some tanks, they screw this up when they start out, right? They walk up to an enemy like this. You see this group here? They walk up and they're like, oh shit, let me attack this. And then they're like just fighting one enemy, forgetting to do anything else. Then the healer clicks cure one time and these 2 enemies right now, since I haven't attacked them at all, will instantly attack the healer in that case. Because I haven't grabbed the enmity from them. They're basically just attacking me just because, but they're not really focused on me entirely. That's why you do total Eclipse, to make sure that that enmity has grown enough. This is so important for you to get, okay? It's also so simple. This has to become like a matter of habit for you to do all this stuff like that. Now let's go into the big pool because we can, because it's unsynced, and I suggest you don't do this unless you have a skilled healer with you. Sometimes I do this with friends for fun, have big pools, but it doesn't really matter. You kind of want to be sure to do this right. So this guy's coming at me now. We're gonna just run here, pull them as well because we can. I'll just show you what it's like on level 80 unsynced. Just pull the whole room like this. Because you know what? I can survive. I've done my homework. I've suffered through all of this already as a sprout myself back in 2014. So I get the struggle, man. I get the struggle. So all these enemies are now here. Well, we're gonna kill them all in one hit. Well, maybe not in one hit. We're just gonna use a special attack. Holy Spirit, watch this. Whoa, that sounded fucking beautiful. Let me replay that. Holy shit, did you hear that? That's the most beautiful sound in the world. Alright, so now you know how to pull the enemies and how to keep the aggro. Another thing you should never forget is to use a skill called Rampart every time it's available during these pulls. Because Rampart gives you 20% defense buff. So that means you take less damage, which is nice for the healer, trust me. Us healers, we appreciate it when you do that. And again, that sometimes doesn't happen either, where a tank is completely forgetting about it when they're new. So I almost forgot to tell you about it, but to me it's like literally a matter of habit. If I play a normal dungeon run, I automatically focus on all these things, because I've done it for so many years. Another thing is fight or flight, which is very useful to do more damage. And you can use it whenever you're doing pulls like I just did, big pulls, or in general, but sometimes I line these up as well, that I can make sure that I use them on boss battles as well, specifically, just to try and speed it up a bit more in those areas. But it's just a matter of choice there. You can just use it whenever you want, technically. So these were actually the basics on how to grab aggro and keep aggro. Was that hard for you to follow? It probably wasn't. It shouldn't be hard. But these are the basics when you just start out as a tank in Final Fantasy XIV, especially as a gladiator. When it's the different classes like the Marauder, which you can unlock as well from the start, the Dark Knight and the Gunbreaker you can't play with right from the beginning. You have to be further into the story. But the Marauder that turns into a warrior has a very similar rotation. It has a skill called Tomahawk, which acts like shield lob. You can pull the enemies from a distance by targeting them. Remember, I see the enemy, I have it targeted already, I can shield lob. And then all the other enemies come at me. You see, come at me, bro. I'm gonna totally eclipse your ass. There, I eclipsed them into oblivion. And that's how you do that. They just they want you. Look, he also wants me. It's like they become sexually attracted to you in a way. So don't get too turned on by this, but this is how you tank, okay? At least this is the basic, very basic start for tank in Final Fantasy XIV. So I wish you good luck, and if you have questions about this, let me know. Because we need more tanks in this game. Don't be scared. It's not scary at all. If you know what you're doing, it's actually a lot of fun. So good luck. And if you want to see more Final Fantasy XIV videos, consider subscribing. And I'll see you in the next video.